Welcome to October. Today we're going to focus on planning, something that is important to the end results of anything we do. Let's look at some ways people plan. Which one fits you best and why? Are you the one that knows exactly what you have to do and you get it done? Or are you the one that looks at all the options and avenues before you figure out the plan? One could look at this graphic differently. Perhaps you plan so much that you can't actually get anything done. Or are you the one that just shoots from the hip? Every summer, the administrative team plans the focus and structure of the PLC team meetings. We review what went well in previous years and what needs to be improved. The weaknesses of the PLC team time that was identified was that administrators were not able to get into all the team meetings. Also, team members were coming in late or leaving early to team meetings, and team members were working on individual work instead of teamwork. In an attempt to solve the issues with PLC team time, plans were made to have all high school and middle school teams meet in one central location. This was to help administrators be present in all team meetings so they can work with all teams more efficiently and help keep them on track. However, even the best laid plans sometimes need to be abandoned. Therefore, high school and middle school teams will return to their previous meeting areas starting this month. In order to be clear on expectations and administrative goal, we are requiring that teams, number 1, meet together for the whole 90 minutes in the same room. Although this requirement seems over the top, it is needed to help administrators. If everyone is in a different room, it's impossible to meet with all staff during the 90 minutes. Remember, PLC meetings start at 2:10 and end at 3:40. Other than this month, because October is different, we start at 10:30 and meet until 12, unless you have cleared a different meeting time with your principal and myself. Number 2, during the PLC team meeting, teams need to be working on one or more of the district's 3 PLC goals: curriculum mapping, data discussion, and learning together. We recognize that some teams are done with their curriculum mapping and their data discussions don't take very long. That is why we have goal number 3, where teams can work together on learning. Reading articles, taking online professional development courses, sharing best practices are extremely valuable activities to do, something we never have time for. Here is the time. Use it wisely. If you want to help planning a learning activity, let me know. Then, just for planning purposes, your team also needs to complete their PLC task and timeline spreadsheets each month. And if you're in a middle school or high school team, let your principal know the room where you'll be meeting. We recognize that teams and team members work hard during PLC team time to improve their practice. They show up at 2:10 and work the entire 90 minutes on the goals they set, because they value the team time that they've been given. Your dedication and commitment to the team process will be recognized in your evaluation under Domain 4D, Professional Responsibilities and Participating in a Professional Community. Keeping in line with the theme of planning, let's talk timeline. Your team needs to have a calendar or timeline that you work off of each month. This can be the one I shared with you, or you can create your own. This timeline drives the work your team does before, during, and after each PLC team meeting. A district expectation is that every class that is taught uses a curriculum map. This falls under the Danielson domain of planning and preparation and setting instructional outcomes. That map may be predetermined by a curriculum that you teach, or it may be completely designed by you or your team. Whichever the case, you need one every year for every class taught. In order to assess how close we are to meeting this expectation, you or your team need to share this map with me. Many of you have a curriculum map already. The only addition to your map may be to include essential questions and questions for assessments. If you have questions about your mapping process, please let me know and I'll come visit. Some common questions that have already been asked are, why do I need a curriculum map? If I already had a map, why do I need to revise it to include essential questions? How do I know if I'm done? And how many do I need to have and by when? Questions 1 and 2 will be answered in Time to Learn segment today. The other 2 questions I can answer now. The first question is, how many curriculum maps do I need to have and by when? Every subject in every grade level needs to have a plan or a curriculum map shared with me so that I can review them and post them on our curriculum site. As soon as they are done or by the end of the school year, your curriculum maps should be revised and shared with me. The second question, how do I know if I'm done? When you share it with me, I will review it and give you feedback and let you know if you need to continue to revise it or if it's ready to be posted. A second expectation is that teachers are using data to reflect on their teaching and to design better lessons. Therefore, during each meeting, you need to discuss data. This includes your student learning outcome. As stated on the task sheet you received in August, your deadline for completing your Student Learning Outcome, or SLO, and PPG is today, October 15th. The only change from your task sheet is how you submit and store your PPG and SLO. Because of TeachScape's continuous issues, Medford will be using Google to store the PPG and SLO, not TeachScape. Here's a quick overview on what to do. If you have already completed and shared your PPG and SLO with your administrator, you can skip the next 7 slides. If not, here's a quick tutorial. Step 1. Go to the district's website and click on Staff Development Opportunities. This will take you to my webpage. Step 2. Click on the PLC Information tab. On the left side of the PLC page, scroll to the bottom to find Educator Effectiveness Forms. Click on the form you would like to complete. Each form has been created in a Google document as a view only. This is so that someone doesn't accidentally overwrite the original. In order to make it editable, you will need to make a copy and rename it. Click on File and select Make a Copy from the drop-down menu. Then click on File again and click on Rename. Please rename it using your name and the year. This will help you and your administrator find it easily. Lastly, share the document with your principal and myself. Make sure you select Can Edit when you share it. That way we can make comments on the document. Complete this process for both your SLO and your PPG. The self-review, which is Danielson's 22 components, should be completed before you decide on your PPG. This activity will help you reflect on your strengths and weaknesses and will better inform your PPG. You need to complete your self-review, but it is not necessary that you share it. Everyone has to complete a self-review, SLO, and PPG every year, but there are some differences for staff depending on if they are on or off the evaluation cycle. If you are up for evaluation, you are required to meet with your principal at least 3 times during the year to review your SLO and PPG, and your administrator will complete 4 observations along with a final summary and score based on the 22 Danielson components and how effectively you've met your SLO. If you are not up for the evaluation this year, you still have to complete your SLO and PPG, but you are not required to review it with anyone. During a non-evaluation year, an administrator will complete at least 1 mini-observation for you, but you will not receive a final score on your SLO or the 22 Danielson components until you are up for evaluation. And now for my favorite time of the video, time to learn. Let's start with your questions. Why do we need a curriculum map? The answer goes back to today's theme, planning ahead. What happens when we don't plan ahead?
So here we have the well-placed door for the Jack and Jill bathroom. I'm looking towards one of the spare bedrooms. I'm in the middle of the bathroom right now. I've got the toilet on my right, the door on my left, and watch this. So how somebody's ever going to close the door is beyond me. That's the situation there. We've got both doors here kind of blocking off the tub.
Without careful planning, you will end up with a door that doesn't shut. You are entrusted with students' learning. If you don't know where you're going or a good idea of how to get there, you won't get there. Just like a good carpenter, plans may change as they start to build, but no good carpenter starts without a plan. Teaching is the same way. The second question is, if I already had a map, why do I need to revise it to include essential questions? Just like our students, we never stop learning about our profession. We must always look to improve and get better. One of those improvements is learning about the importance of essential questions and then using them in our lessons. Last month, we asked, how can using essential questions affect the way a teacher plans, teaches, and assesses? Let's learn more about this. Stop the video and have your PLC point person click on the video link that was shared with them. This is a 1-minute video on essential questions. In November, we will continue our work on questioning. To help you keep thinking, here's an interesting quote from last month's Educational Leadership magazine. Most students believe teachers ask questions to get the right answer, the teacher's answer, so they stop thinking if a right answer doesn't immediately come to mind. As a team, stop the video and discuss this thought. What does it look like in a classroom? Does it happen in my classroom? Do I want to change it? How do I change it? One final reminder of the tasks you need to complete for today. First of all, share your SLO and PPG with your principal and myself if you haven't already. One note, elementary teachers will have a slightly different way of turning in your SLO and PPG. Please ask Mr. Miller if you need help with the Google Classroom. Number 2, make sure you have a discussion centered around data that you have collected. Number 3, complete your Google timeline for today and plan for next month. And number 4, if you are done, share your completed curriculum map with me. Have a great October, and we'll see you in November.